How you guys doing? Welcome in here to Rover Sports. I wanted to give a quick kind of video on what could be an NFL rumor that is circulating right now, and that is that the San Francisco 49ers are very interested in Odell Beckham Jr. Now, the 49ers, what I think that the deal would entail is the deal would entail a swap where the 49ers would give the Giants the second overall pick in this year's draft, which would enable the Giants to select Josh Allen, the local New Jersey kid that was unstoppable in the SEC East last year for the Kentucky Wildcats. A guy that is a fast linebacker with an unbelievable motor that grew up in New Jersey. And the 49ers would take the 6th overall pick, which would enable them to maybe get a Devin White with a Fred Warner, which would maybe allow them to get, if they like Farrell, if they like Rashawn Gary. I think Rashawn Gary is a very big possibility. So you look at the difference between Rashawn Gary and Nick Bosa. And if John Lynch deems that there's not that big of a difference between Nick Bosa, if Nick Bosa doesn't separate himself from the field, then John Lynch and the San Francisco 49ers could be very interested in pulling the trigger for $19 million worth of Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I've made a lot of videos here on this channel about Odell Beckham Jr., about his personality, about him doing the interview, the Miami boat trip, the mannerisms with the kicking net on the field, the poor body language on the sidelines, the constant headache that he is from Pat Shurmur's perspective, from Eli Manning's perspective, from the New York Giants' perspective. But objectively speaking, Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the most talented receivers in the NFL. He is going to be probably, when it's all said and done, a Hall of Fame caliber of talent. The stats speak for themselves. Odell Beckham Jr. is very fluid with his routes. His catch radius is sensational. He can go up and high point the football. He can make big-time plays. He also has the speed to break away and finish plays for touchdowns. So Odell Beckham Jr. in a Kyle Shanahan offense is exactly what a lot of people would argue is a big-time move. And Kyle Shanahan, when he had Julio Jones, the Falcons were able to make the Super Bowl, and Matt Ryan was able to be that much more effective. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be more effective with Odell now and George Kittle? Absolutely, but it's $19 million. So would you rather pay LeVeon Bell for about 3 years where you could afford that kind of money, 3 to 4 years, or do you want Odell Beckham Jr. where you're paying 4 years of $19 million? I actually believe it might be 3 more years at $19 million, and then the last year is still going to be a $15 million hit against the cap. That's not even adding in signing bonuses. So if you add Odell Beckham Jr., you now have him and Jimmy G. That would be a combined probably like $43 million. No, that's more, 28 plus 19. That it would equal a good $47 million each year for a two-player caliber deal. And Odell Beckham Jr. isn't even the healthiest guy. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. probably misses like 4 or 5 games each season. So if I were the 49ers, I would not sign Odell Beckham Jr. because, I mean, look at the Patriots, look at Kansas City Chiefs. I know that Mahomes, and I know Tyreek Hill's a very good receiver. He's not the caliber of Odell Beckham Jr. Look at DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins doesn't win a lot of playoff games. Antonio Brown's been very successful, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have had a very easy AFC North. And I look at this deal for San Francisco. You already have a good pick in Dante Pettis. You have Marquise Goodwin, who, when healthy, is going to be a big-time weapon. I know that Garcon, I think, is still on the roster. I'm not sure about him. He's getting older, though. Kendrick Bourne's very good. Trent Taylor. So you're good at slot receivers. And then when you look at this draft, Hakeem Butler is probably going to be sitting there in the second round. A.J. Brown is going to be another guy that you can get a lot cheaper than Odell Beckham Jr. I know that A.J. Brown is also a very confident, outspoken receiver. Kind of like an Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know how his career is going to pan out. I just know that he's constantly on social media and that sort of thing. But A.J. Brown's a big-time talent out of Ole Miss, and he was a hell of a player in the SEC. So the question really is, do you want to not get Le'Veon Bell? Do you want to take the risk with an injury-prone player? And this is my main argument against it for the 49ers, is that do you want this type of guy in and around your team at all times? Do you trust Richard Sherman? Do you trust the guys? Do you trust some veterans in this locker room right now? I mean, this offensive side of the football, you look at guard, you look at this offensive line, you have McGlinchey, Joe Staley. Is your locker room going to be able to take care of Odell Beckham Jr.? I don't think that you really have, other than Garcon, I guess. There's no real older wide receivers on this team. This is still such a young nucleus. And I'd rather spend that money on safeties and on defense to get Salah all the help that Robert Saleh needs for his defense. And I look at Nick Bosa, and I think Nick Bosa, from every measure, is a tactician. And is Solomon Thomas ever going to be that quality of player? Now, Rashawn Gary has very good combine numbers, but Nick Bosa is just about a lock. I know Nick Bosa got hurt last year, but this guy has NFL bloodlines. This guy, Nick Bosa, is tremendous off the edge. You keep your second pick overall. I think that the 49ers should stay home at number 2, draft Nick Bosa. I think they should pitch LeVeon Bell on a $48 million deal where LeVeon Bell will be getting about a 3-year deal for about $48. That's what I would pay him, a 3-year deal. And for LeVeon Bell, he can go out and try to win a Super Bowl out in the Bay Area. The 49ers then have Selleck. You have George Kittle, who is one of the best tight end weapons in the NFL. You get a Hakeem Butler. You look at Nelson Aguilar, who could be on the free market. Wide receivers with Jimmy Garoppolo, and in this system, it's going to be explosive enough. I think Butler will probably drop to the second round due to, a little bit of a slow 40 time. You're going to be able to get some great receivers in this draft. I mean, Isabella is this receiver class, Mecole Hardman, Deebo Samuel, Paris Campbell. It is filled with great wide receiver talent where it's pennies on the dollar. So for the San Francisco 49ers, I would not do the deal. Now for the New York Giants, you then would be passing on Dwayne Haskins, where then I think it's premium that the New York Giants could either do one or two things. They can get Josh Allen, which I think if you trade Odell Beckham Jr. for Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen is a huge talent. And you need a pass rusher. So I think that Josh Allen would be a fantastic corner piece for your franchise. You have Saquon and Josh Allen. You need that defensive superstar like a Michael Strahan, like a Lawrence Taylor. If you're going to get back to Giants football, I would do the deal really in a second. And then I know you don't get Dwayne Haskins, but then you could still try to operate a second-round pick. Or I would even consider this. I would even consider just rolling out the team you have this year with an older Eli Manning, giving Eli another swan song, and then you are going to possibly be picking very early next year. You're going to be picking between Herbert, Tua. There's 2 really good quarterbacks, but Tua Tagovailoa is just about as good of a quarterback as you are going to find anywhere. He is the best quarterback prospect that I have seen just about all my years, really, where I've been able to study this position. I mean, Tagovailoa, if you then get him, you are ready to go all in. Because Eli Manning's still taking up $23 million. Olivier Vernon and Janoris are still on your books. Next year, you'll be able to have all that freedom to allocate in the free agency. So the fact is, you're going to get a young quarterback. Eli's going to be gone next year. Why don't you just try to do this trade for Josh Allen? It's pretty much Odell Beckham Jr., his $19 million off of the books, and then you're essentially going into your rebuilding mode with a young Saquon Barkley, a guy in Josh Allen that I absolutely love from the University of Kentucky, who grew up a New York Giants fan. I think that deal would make a lot of sense, and then you could look to possibly trade your second rounder for 3 years of Josh Rosen, where Rosen for at least 2 years is going to be making no money at all, and then you have to see if you want to sign Rosen for a big deal, which I probably would not do. I don't like giving quarterbacks big contracts at all, but that is something to consider as well. So the 49ers fans, there's going to be a lot of arguments that say Nick Bosa is not a slam dunk. Let's just go with Rashawn Gary and get a Julio Jones type of game-breaking receiver. The 49ers fans are eager to get back to the Super Bowl. And with the turmoil in LA, with a lot of their free agents going to be going out the door, the 49ers right now, while the Cardinals are down and while Seattle is kind of in the stage of purgatory, the 49ers want to make a big-time splash, and they are interested in acquiring Odell Beckham Jr. And what do you 49ers fans think of Odell Beckham Jr.? I'm sure that you've watched some of my videos, and it's frustrating with Odell Beckham Jr. He's a huge talent. It is objectively speaking, you cannot say that Odell's not a top 5 receiver in this NFL. I know you could say Thielen's a damn good player, but Odell Beckham Jr., when he's on the field, this guy is unbelievable. And also this guy is not evil off the field. He is not a violent character by any means. He is just kind of a social media, kind of a dramatic kind of a character, to say the least. So you have to consider that, and I would not do it. I think it's too much baggage. I am not an Odell Beckham Jr. guy. I think you could go a lot of other ways and decorate the roster in other ways. So that's me. If I was the 49ers, I would not do it. But I'm sure that you 49ers fans, I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting poll to see where you guys are at with Odell Beckham Jr. And, of course, Odell in this offense, it would be very enticing. It would be a lot of fun to watch, and I really don't have a reason to root against Odell Beckham Jr. The Giants are kind of rebuilding. It's kind of Eli's last year anyway. You kind of want to give Eli Manning and this team. The Giants kind of need a reboot anyway. I think Odell Beckham Jr., even with listening to what he's been saying, I don't think that this change of scenery will hurt his motivation, will hurt his production at all. And now he gets to be with Richard Sherman. He gets to be with a couple Hall of Famers. He gets to be with a young and progressive coaching staff. And if you're picking between John Lynch and Dave Gettleman, I like old Dave Gettleman. He's a cool guy. But John Lynch is just about I think John Lynch is one of the I just think John Lynch is one of the coolest general managers in all football. Like, I think that guy is just really understanding a pro player's general manager. I think that Lynch is a flat-out beast, and I'm on record saying that. And Kyle Shanahan, too. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to love Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's very easy to get along with, very young, and really just a low-maintenance, relaxed, laid-back guy. And I think Odell is going to love San Fran if that happens. I think Odell will like San Fran or Cleveland. This whole Cleveland thing going down right now with Odell Beckham Jr. is just to get the 49ers to bite. I think that it's a complete and total little bluff job that the Giants are doing with Dave Gettleman sitting next to John Dorsey. I don't think that there's a deal in place for 17. But if the 49ers want to move back to 6, I think that deal will be on the table. And I also think that with Josh Allen available at the second pick, most likely, the Giants are going to be very interested in that deal. Josh Allen probably going to be the pick, an outside edge rusher that I think is a fantastic player for the New York Giants, that I think Josh Allen has the potential to be a Pro Bowl defensive player, a guy who could possibly get 13 or 14 sacks sometimes. I mean, that's a player that the Giants, that's what Giants football is all about, baby. So, man, this is fun. This is the offseason. Rumors are flying before free agency. What do you Niners fans think? What does the Empire think? And what do some of the Giants fans think about this deal?